Patriots Nation, take a deep breath. Today feels like a turning point in Foxborough, and three chess pieces might shake the entire AFC. A change in the backfield could reveal an unexpected lead role, a veteran target might be on the radar to supercharge a playoff push, and the defense has a brutal message about identity and the standard of excellence. Oh, and there's a silent giant in the front seven, raising this team's ceiling far beyond what most people realize. Ready? You won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, drop a like, and let's dive straight into everything that matters right now. The absence of Ramondre Stevenson this week completely reshapes New England's offensive board. For the first time this season, the spotlight in the backfield drops squarely on Tre'Von Henderson, a name that's been knocking on the door and now finally has the chance to show why so many people saw him as a raw gem back in training camp. But the story doesn't stop there. There's also a surprise factor in Terrell Jennings, and the coaching staff is fired up about what they saw in recent practices. With Stevenson out, the numbers tell a clear story. Henderson has already logged 53 carries for 228 yards and a touchdown, 4.3 yards per tote, while holding 23% of the team's rush attempts so far. Project that roll forward, and it's easy to see him landing around 50% of team rushes this week. Jennings, meanwhile, has just 7 carries for 33 yards across a small sample, but his pads pop on contact and he finishes forward. Expect him in the 15% to 20% lane as a changeup, with the balance still belonging to Drake May, who owns about 22% of team rushes through designed keepers and pocket escapes. If New England hits its usual red zone split, this matters even more. The Patriots have run the ball 55% of the time inside the 20, and 5 of 7 rushing touchdowns have gone to running backs, not the quarterback. Against a Falcons run defense sitting 22nd by most metrics, the runway should be there if New England wins first down. Inside zone duo and the occasional counter tray can stress those linebackers, and Henderson's tempo fits those calls. Here's the wrinkle nobody expected. The team elevated D'Ernest Johnson. Officially, he's a break glass in case of emergency option, but Mike Vrabel loves testing new looks in compressed spaces. Don't be shocked if Johnson steals a handful of snaps on low red zone gap schemes just to force the Falcons to fit one more body. Henderson, however, remains the heavy favorite to dominate snaps, and there's word that May asked to keep the run game as the week's offensive backbone. Bottom line, if Henderson crosses 80 yards with a score, New England gets the consistency it's been chasing, and the offense keeps the script on schedule for 4 quarters. Now imagine this, Patriots Nation, on top of recalibrating the rushing attack, New England decides to take a bold swing before the trade deadline. One name circulating among insiders is Nick Chubb. Yes, the veteran running back currently with the Houston Texans, who has split snaps almost evenly with Woody Marks, 199 to 197, while others like Dare Ogunbowale, Jacob Johnson, British Brooks, and Dameon Pierce rotate in. The production has been up and down, with Chubb posting fewer than 10 fantasy points in 5 of 7 games and topping out at 15.2 back in week 2. That usage tells a story. Limited volume, inconsistent rhythm, and not enough touches to let him wear down defenses the way he's built to do. The logic for a potential move checks out. Chubb is a classic tone setter who thrives on volume, rhythm, and contact balance. New England, meanwhile, sits top 10 in yards and points per game and wants to play a brand of complementary football that leans on efficient early down runs. Picture Chubb getting 15 to 18 carries a game, protected by motion, condensed splits, and pistol looks that widen linebackers by half a step. Give him gap scheme angles on short yardage, sprinkle in mid-zone to the boundary to punish over pursuit, and layer play-action crossers for May once safeties start to cheat. That's how you turn 3-yard nudges into 6-yard body blows and eventually into explosive shots over the top. For Houston, there's logic too. Trading a veteran for draft capital would clear a lane for Marks to seize the job, while maintaining a committee of role players behind him. That's sustainable for a team straddling the line between competing now and building for later. For the Patriots, adding a dependable downhill veteran while Stevenson rehabs would stabilize the backfield and protect against the volatility that comes with leaning on a rookie for 25 touches. And if the price were reasonable, a mid-round pick with conditions tied to playing time and playoff incentives, it becomes the type of move that protects the present without mortgaging the future. Around league circles, analysts have floated the idea that Vrabel wants at least one productive veteran before the deadline. If the name really is Chubb, this move could reframe New England's 2025 arc. Imagine May protected by a dominant run game, Vrabel managing a more balanced script, and the defense staying fresher thanks to sustained drives. That's New England's brand of football. Squeeze the clock, win the hitting, and force opponents to play left-handed. The ripple effect is obvious. More 2nd and 5s, more 3rd and 2, more chances for May to control tempo at the line, hard count defenses into gifts, and attack light boxes with quick decisions. What Mike Vrabel is building in Foxborough is starting to turn heads well beyond the AFC, and the reason goes deeper than stat sheets. He's reinstalled the DNA that always defined the Patriot way: discipline, intensity, and complementary football. Just look at the numbers. Drake May leads the NFL in completion percentage at 75.2% and sits top 3 in yards per attempt at 9.0. And yet, remarkably, the offense isn't even the most impressive part. The defense has become a nightmare that travels to any stadium. With Milton Williams, Kyrus Tonga, and Robert Spillane, New England has fortified the trenches against the run and built a front seven that plays on the opponent's side of the line of scrimmage. No running back has cracked 50 rushing yards against this group all season. That's not luck, that's leverage, hand placement, and relentless pursuit. Linebacker Jelani Tavai captured the vibe perfectly. It's a scary thing when you see 11 defensive players running to tear a guy's face off. That line has become a mantra, a reminder that effort multiplies when 11 hats arrive to the football with bad intentions and clean technique. Execution backs the attitude. The Patriots sit top 5 in takeaways and top 5 in points allowed, and they're 2nd in yards per rush surrendered at a stingy 3.5 per carry. That's a stunning pivot from last year, when the word soft hung in the air after a rough London loss. Now, the same locker room breathes urgency and accountability. The secondary has tightened its spacing, the linebackers trigger downhill with square shoulders, and the front rotates fresh bodies to keep the push alive into the 4th quarter. Here's the twist. Vrabel refuses to let the bar sit still. He raises it after every win. Milton Williams walked out of his last presser visibly frustrated because the defense didn't hit perfection. That standard explains the 6-2 start in a seat near the top of the AFC. The message at practice is consistent. Finish with intent, finish with leverage, finish through the echo of the whistle. If anyone still doubted the rebuild, Williams just buried those doubts. The defensive tackle arrived as New England's premier offseason signing on a 4-year, $104 million deal, and he's showing why he's worth every penny. He's a quiet wrecking ball. Through 8 games, he's stacked 3.5 sacks from the interior, collapsing pockets and leading by example. He's the kind of player who can change the culture of an entire locker room. Vrabel saw something in Williams that many in Philadelphia overlooked: mindset. The coach didn't care about last year's limited snap count discourse. He saw a Super Bowl champion ready to anchor a new defense. And Williams is delivering exactly that. An ultra-demanding standard. Even after convincing wins, he talks about not being satisfied. It spreads. It's the same spirit that helped turn New England into a dynasty in the early 2000s. You feel it on early downs when the front wins the line of scrimmage, on 3rd downs when the coverage squeezes roots at the sticks, and on sudden change series when 11 players sprint onto the field like they were shot out of a cannon. The parallels are hard to ignore. Like that 2001 group, this roster blends youth with a hunger to prove something under steady leadership. Drake May, just 23, is playing like a veteran. With a completion rate hovering around 75% and a touchdown to interception balance that screams poise, he understands the weight of the jersey he wears. His command at the line is growing every week. He's changing protections, getting to the right run checks, and stealing free yards with cadence and formation tells. When both sides of the ball lock into the same pace of excellence, the result is predictable: wins and more wins. There's a complementary domino effect in all of this. A sturdier ground game keeps May in rhythmic down and distance. A defense that smothers the run forces opponents into obvious passing downs, which feeds the rush and accelerates decision-making mistakes. Special teams flips the field, and suddenly New England is playing more snaps on the right side of the 50. It's not flashy, it's sustainable. And sustainable is what wins in November, December, and beyond. The truth is, this team's ceiling is still out of reach. In the best way. If Vrabel adds one more impact piece before the deadline, New England can become the team nobody wants to see in January. Williams knows it. And when he says, "No one here is satisfied with good. We want to be legendary," you can feel this roster starting to believe in something bigger. Foxborough is thumping again. And if that piece is a between-the-tackles hammer like Chubb, it clarifies identity in cold weather games when the calendar flips and every possession feels heavier. So what's the big picture takeaway from today? A clear plan is taking shape. Henderson seizes the wheel with Jennings as the possible surprise spark. A potential move for a veteran like Chubb could lock in the physical identity and give May the kind of balance that tilts games in the fourth quarter. The defense has been reinvented under Vrabel and is flirting with perfection, with Williams setting the thermostat for the whole building and lifting Foxborough's ceiling. If one more impact piece arrives, this team steps into a different tier. Now it's your turn. What's the one move that transforms a hot run into a legacy? Sound off below. I'm jumping into the comments to debate it with you. If you're riding with this identity shift and the chase for something bigger, drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next chapter the moment it lands. And if you think a different veteran fits better than Chubb, tell me who and why. Pass pro chops, yards after contact, red zone utility, contract math, I want it all. This is the kind of conversation that defines what Patriots football will look like down the stretch.